Good afternoon. As Marshal of the University of Chicago, it is my honor to welcome you to the 534th Convocation of the University of Chicago and the presentation of diplomas to the graduates of the Division of the Social Sciences. Let me now introduce the Dean of Social Sciences Division, Amanda Woodward.
Greetings and welcome to all the social science graduates, family, and friends. As well said, I'm Amanda Woodward, and I'm the Dean of the Division of the Social Sciences. With the conclusion of this unprecedented year, the university confers degrees on 143 students who have completed programs of advanced studies in the social sciences. This afternoon, my colleagues and I have the distinct honor to recognize your achievements individually as graduates of the University of Chicago. This is a joyous day, but it comes at the end of a year that has held a great deal of challenge and of loss. And I want to begin by taking a moment to recognize two graduate students in the Social Sciences Division who we tragically lost this year. Nick Nichiporuk, a doctoral student in the Department of Psychology, passed away in the fall. Nick was just about to begin his dissertation work in social and cognitive psychology. Yuran Fan was tragically lost his life at the start of the winter quarter. He was a doctoral student in financial economics, which is a joint program of the Kenneth C. Griffin Department of Economics and the Booth School of Business. His doctoral research focused on the economic crisis of 2008, and the university will confer a posthumous PhD in financial economics to him today at the Booth School of Business ceremony. I'm really grateful that we are able to be here in person with so many of you. And I'm also mindful of those who are joining us remotely, joining us virtually. And I hope that everyone feels welcome and connected and a part of today's important event. We're going to begin our ceremony today by conferring the Faculty Award for Excellence in Graduate Teaching and Mentoring. In recognizing the graduates of our programs, we also reflect on our own accomplishments as teachers, mentors, and advisors. That is, we mark the culmination of our own work as the Faculty of the Social Sciences. And each year we honor one of our number upon nomination of the students with the Faculty Award for Excellence in Graduate Teaching. And we're pleased to recognize one of our faculty members today. I'm going to introduce Professor Will Howell, Chair of the Department of Political Science, to present the award.
Through labs, working groups, and individual relationships, Monica Nalepa has invested a great deal of time and energy into not only mentoring students, but into building robust communities of support and discovery. She helps students with technical issues in game theory and social choice theory, to be sure, but she also guides them through the job market, delivers advice on how to handle criticisms raised by colleagues and reviewers, and extends opportunities to participate in her own research portfolio. She speaks plainly and powerfully about the challenges that women and people of color face in our discipline, and more than just offering words of encouragement, she builds networks of relationships that foster growth and enrichment.
Through her deep investment in graduate students' growth and enrichment, Monica Nalepa's leadership has strengthened the political science community and produced leading researchers in the discipline. Make sure this is the right one. I am now privileged to introduce Robert Scheimer, who will deliver faculty remarks. Professor Scheimer is the Alvin H. Baum Professor in Economics in the college and the chair of the department of the Kenneth C. Griffin Department of Economics. Professor Scheimer earned his PhD from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and he joined our faculty in 2003. His work examines the intersection of labor markets, financial markets, and macroeconomics, largely focused on search frictions, but also the mismatch between workers' human capital and the geographic location and the skill requirements and location of available jobs. He is a research associate at the National Bureau of Economic Research and a consultant at the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. In 2010, he received the Sherwin-Rosen Prize for outstanding contributions in the field of labor economics from the Society of Labor Economics. He's a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, a fellow of the Econometric Society, a fellow of the Society of Labor Economists, and a fellow of the Society for the Advancement of Economic Theory. Professor Scheimer.
Dean Woodward, thank you. Graduates, it's my distinct honor on behalf of the faculty of the Social Science Division to congratulate you on your singular achievement. I know many of my colleagues wish they could join me on this stage to applaud you, your families, your loved ones, for your accomplishments in this challenging year. Well done. We've all spent too much time this year staring at our computer screens. I'm therefore overjoyed at how many of you are able to join us on our beautiful campus on such a beautiful, hot day to receive your degrees and your hoods. I'm also honored to have this opportunity to give you a few brief remarks today. And I'm told that the operative word is brief. My remarks are based on questions that I've asked myself repeatedly during the last 15 months, in between Zoom meetings, Zoom workshops, Zoom classes. In a world connected only virtually, why does it matter that we're at the University of Chicago? What makes this place special? In case it wasn't clear before COVID-19, the answer is not just our beautiful buildings and quadrangles, which have been so, by necessity, so underutilized during the last 15 months. This university, this division is great because of our community of scholars, because of us, the faculty, and you, the students, and now alumni. But what makes a great community of scholars? To answer this, I want to step back and ask a bigger question. Why do universities exist? Like all interesting questions in the social sciences, there are many correct answers, each of which captures a part of the truth. Here are three. First, the university is a school, educating you, our students, before sending you off to change the world. And second, the university is a research lab, providing a cloistered life to scholars privileged to work and study here. And third, of course, the university is a gatekeeper, certifying that you are worthy of your degrees. In light of the occasion, I might be well advised to accept the gatekeeper answer, congratulate you once again, and open the gates so that you can receive your degrees. I promise to be brief, but I won't be that brief. So education, research, certification, these are all undoubtedly important functions of a great university, but they are not exclusive to universities. You don't need to be enrolled at a university to read a book or a journal article, to watch a YouTube lecture on any topic that you can imagine. If you want a quiet life with ample time for research, maybe find a cabin in the woods with a decent internet connection and periodically chat with like-minded scholars working on similar research topics. As for certification, surely there must be better ways, more efficient ways for us, the faculty, to tell the world how great you are, rather than make you work so hard for so many years. So I'll propose another explanation for why universities exist, for what makes great universities thrive, something economists call human capital externalities. To explain what this means, let me take a step back and ask another question. Why do cities or agglomerations like Silicon Valley exist? There are obvious reasons they shouldn't exist. The traffic is terrible, they're expensive places to live, and people come to cities and they willingly pay a lot to live here. So why? Many of the most convincing answers to that question come, perhaps not surprisingly, from scholars associated with the Social Science Division. Vernon Henderson, who received his PhD in economics from the University of Chicago 49 years ago, argued in his dissertation research that the force driving people to cities was economies of scale in production. That is, a factory with 100 workers can produce more than 10 factories, each of which have 10 workers. This makes working in a big city more efficient than in a small town. Henderson tells us that people come to cities because that's where the jobs are. But this begs other questions. For example, why not create a company town in the middle of nowhere to take advantage of cheap land and reap the benefits of economies of scale and production? This is not a hypothetical question. George Pullman founded Pullman, Illinois, now Chicago's Pullman community area, in the 1880s, about 6 miles south of where we are right now, in order to house employees of the Pullman Railroad Car Company. But company towns like his generally failed and are no longer viewed as viable models of economic development. What went wrong? What was missing from company towns? In the case of Pullman, one can point to an infamous strike in 1894, but the failure of company towns, or planned cities more generally, is so ubiquitous that one is pushed to look for a more generic explanation. My colleague, Robert E. Lucas, Jr., who received his PhD in economics here 57 years ago, offers one answer. Professor Lucas argued that the key agglomeration force holding great cities together is not economies of scale and production, but people. That is, he argued that what attracts people to a city is people, and in particular, the diverse knowledge, creativity, and ideas embodied in other people. Or to use the terminology made famous by 3 other University of Chicago economists, Ted Schultz, Jacob Mintzer, and Gary Becker, workers with high human capital attract workers to cities. In Lucas's view, cities are places where it's comparatively easy to accumulate human capital, to learn from the disparate knowledge, varied experience, and diverse perspective of those around you. Why couldn't George Pullman capture the benefits of high human capital in his company town? One of Lucas's key insights is that the process of accumulating human capital, of learning, is mysterious and unpredictable. All of us have experienced that mysterious process, when you suddenly can do something you couldn't before, when you know something that no one else knew before. If human capital accumulation weren't mysterious, then, as every Chicago economist knows, it would be priced. That is, George Pullman could have paid people with high human capital to come to his town and help all his other workers accumulate human capital. Now, of course, I'm a teacher, and so I recognize that some human capital accumulation, some learning, works that way. If you want to build a Pullman railroad car better, you should learn from people who know how to build Pullman railroad cars. But that's not the most exciting kind of human capital accumulation. That's not the human capital accumulation that leads to innovation, that changes the world. As anyone who has experienced the University of Chicago soon realizes, you learn to change the world by surrounding yourself with people who know things you don't, who have a different perspective, different experiences, different knowledge, and they learn equally much from you. You learn by observing, you learn from casual interactions, and yes, you learn from careful study. Sometimes this human capital accumulation is hard, sometimes it's effortless, sometimes it's joyful. But the common theme is that human capital grows when heterogeneous people collaborate with each other. So finally, an answer. Why do cities exist? People flock to cities because it is here that your human capital grows through countless, diverse, unpredictable interactions with fellow citizens. This is the human capital externality, and I agree with Professor Lucas that this is the fundamental force pulling people into cities and holding cities together. I want to take this one step further. Human capital externalities are also the fundamental force making great universities great. It is relatively easy to create a university version of Pullman, Illinois. Bring smart and like-minded people together, and they will build what they were brought there to build. But that is not the blueprint for a great university. A great university, the University of Chicago, is greater than the sum of its parts. It achieves this by bringing brilliant people, but heterogeneous minds together, people with disparate knowledge, varied experience, diverse perspectives. No place exemplifies this better than the Social Science Division, with its 8 departments, 5 committees, 14 degree-granting programs. Our community of scholars is strong, not because we see eye to eye, but because we, faculty, students, alumni, disagree with each other. We learn from each other. Our human capital grows through thoughtful disagreement, through critical evaluation, and through respectful discourse. As you take what you have learned here out into the world, I ask that you never forget the importance of this respectful disagreement. In your work, you will find like-minded people, colleagues and scholars. No doubt there will be value in these interactions, but remember that there are limitations as well. Great research ideas often come from making surprising connections between fields that other people didn't consider. The catalyst for such ideas is often conversations with brilliant colleagues, faculty, students, and alumni who look at the world from a different vantage point. Embracing disagreement is also important in other aspects of your life. On the internet, it's easier than ever to immerse yourself in a community of like-minded people. Research shows that websites like Facebook and Twitter exacerbate political polarization by creating echo chambers of like-minded people on the right and on the left who reinforce each other's views. As you have done at the University of Chicago, both in person before the pandemic and online through the amazing new social networks and connections that you've forged during the last 15 months, I urge you to seek out environments where you will encounter people with diverse perspectives, varied experience, and disparate knowledge. Listen to what they have to say. Tell them respectfully what you know. When you do this, your human capital will continue to grow, and so will theirs. But that's advice for tomorrow. Today is not the day to seek out strangers, but instead it's a day to celebrate your extraordinary achievements with your family, your friends, your peers, your teachers, your loved ones. And so on behalf of the faculty of the Social Science Division at the University of Chicago, congratulations. The gates to your degrees and hoods are open. Thank you.
Congratulations again on this truly momentous achievement. We wish you every future success.
Congratulations. You guys have done a tremendous job, and we're very, very proud of you. Good luck.
I am delighted to congratulate you and to welcome you, as they say, quite aptly, to the ancient and universal community of scholars. Congratulations.
Good luck as you move forward and make your mark on the world.
Really, our heartfelt congratulations and hopes for a bright and healthy future.
Congratulations on all that you've achieved in what is an exceptionally rigorous program.
This is a tremendous achievement. We are very proud of you. And in the meantime, I wish you farewell, and hopefully you will stay in touch.
Good luck, class of 2021, and thank you.
Until we meet again, congratulations, graduates. I applaud you.
Dean Woodward, each of the students I now present has completed a program of advanced study. As Deputy Dean and Executive Director of MA Programs, on behalf of the faculty in the various programs in the social sciences, I now have the honor to present them as recipients of the degree of Master of Arts.
You have successfully completed a program of advanced study. I now present you with the diploma of the University of Chicago.
Jamie Ackerman. May Murray Arditi. Zachary Arrington. Erica Augenstein. Ibrahim Baig. Bethany Rachel Lois Beal. William Anthony Birdthistle. Mary Catherine Bolton. Nairi Anastasia Brown. Rebecca McMahon Butler. Likun Zhao. Jordan Dean Carpenter. Sonia Castaneda Dower. Regina Katipan. Clay Locke Catlin. Patrick Ryan Cecil. Jose Tomas Cerda. Madeline Ruth Chapman. Irma Lisette Chavez. Leoi Chan. Rachel Citron. Vicky Katina Connor. Mary Emma Cook. Aubrey Crines. Peter Brennan Cuppernell. Insaya Temid, Basma El-Batsi, Daniel Aaron Epstein, Rodrigo Estrada, Teo Evans, Ronald Michael Fornaro III, Gabriel Foy Sutherland, Shreya Gautam, Masuma Heather, He Jiu Lo, Song Grun He, An Chi Hu, Chun Hu, He Huang, Shunhao Huang, Zhongyi Huang, Luyi Jiang, Ansi Aaron Camel, Leah Kong, Derek Michael Kennedy, Hyun Ki Kim, Mara Rose Kramer, Ken Kermoyan, Yuchan Lak, Noah Tamar Levine, Jianshun Li, Runhua Li, Xinyue Li, Yimin Li, Chen Liang, Unjun Amy Leon, Chun Ao Liu, Shenshen Liu, Yuming Liu, Julia Maria Ledoen, Zhutao Liu, Yijia Liu, Megan Mayfield, Jianyue Niu, Yunpei Ban, Faria Pervez, Alexander Cameron Pelton, Benjamin Trujillo Perez, Juanicha Punpatnapricha, Ricardo Hineche Uribe, Estefano Rubio, Anna Rumer, Alexander Iram Sanchez Claudio, Matthias Shepard, Rowan Junkao Shi, Kanika Singh Sisodia, Enha Grace So, Christine Wagner Powers Taylor, Pim Tromelin, Stephanie Truskowski, Tyler Tumblety, Tong Wong, Yigong Wong, Monica Rose Wiseman, Christopher Williams, Ling Hui Wu, Shoping Wu, Yuxin Wu, Wei Xiao, Yinjiang Jiang, Shumeng Yun, Minwen Yang, Yijun Yang, Andrea Izem Yanal, Feiyong Yu, Xiun Chung, Zichun Zhao, Sijun Zhang, Anqi Zhou.
Dean Woodward, each of the students I now present has attained scholarly distinction in advanced studies and has prepared a dissertation that contributes to knowledge in a particular field of research. As Dean of Students, on behalf of the faculty in the doctoral departments in the social sciences, I now have the honor to present them as recipients of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
You have successfully completed a program of advanced study. I now present you with a diploma and the hood of the University of Chicago, and I welcome you to this ancient and honorable company of scholars.
Sneha Anavarapu, Moving Targets, Traffic Rules, State Authority, and Road Safety in Hyderabad, India. Alejandra Asuero Quijano, Forensics of Finance, The Science of Debt and Crime in Post-Agreement Colombia. Christian Baker, Essays on Information Costs. Christian is also receiving the Master of Arts degree. Genevieve Bates, holding their feet to the fire, negotiated accountability in the shadow of the international community. That's my baby girl. Jeremiah Bejarano, Essays in Macroeconomics and Finance. Jeremiah is also receiving the Master of Arts degree. Alexandra Brewer, The Deserving Pain, How Hospitals Structure Medical Decision-Making Around Pain Management. Nicole Burke, The Cognitive Value of Social Relationships, An Argument for Social Network Theory. Seeing Chow, Essays on the Role of Economic Ideas in Judicial Decision-Making. Christina Carraza, Parent Attitudes About Young Children's Math Learning, Connections to Parent Math Support and Child Math Outcomes. Sarah Cashdollar, Career and Technical Education in the Era of College and Career Readiness, Influences on Youth Post-Secondary Aspirations in Oaksburg, USA. Kwanming Chen, Essays on Labor Supply. Yuting Chiang, Essays on Macroeconomic Models with Dispersed Information. Mark Deming, The Strategic Foundations of Authoritarian Successor Parties. Angela Denise, Heterogeneous and Uncertain Health Dynamics and Working Decisions of Older Adults. Angela is also receiving the Master of Arts degree. Gustavo Gonzalez, Commodity Price Shocks, Factor Utilization, and Productivity Dynamics. Gustavo is also receiving the Master of Arts degree. Nathaniel Gonzalez, The Causes and Consequences of Recurrent Buddhist-Muslim Violence in Myanmar. Sonia Grant, Patchwork, Land, Law, and Extraction in the Greater Chaco. Nicole Hakim, Characterizing Working Memory Delay Period Activity. Jennifer Nicole Hall, Parenting Within the Hyperghetto Carceral Complex, Making Meaning of Youth Behavior Through Parental Identity. Jennifer is also receiving the Master of Arts degree. Kai Wei Su, Learning, Reviews, and Pricing in the Airbnb Market. Benjamin Jeffrey, An Image on Water, a reading of Shakespeare's The Tempest. Jaleisha Braxton Jennifer, Calculated Avoidance, the Role of Effort-Based Valuations in the Relation Between Math Anxiety and Math Avoidance. Mishal Khan, Empire, Law, and Order Making After the Abolition of Slavery, 3 Laboring Figures in India. Tae-ho Kim, Essays in Personnel Economics of Policing. Tae-ho is also receiving the Master of Arts degree. Chung Lee, Essays on Economics of Immigration. Haishi Lee, Essays on the Macroeconomic Implications of Globalization. Lun Lee, Advertising, Brand Preferences, and Market Structures. Lun is also receiving the Master of Arts degree. Philip Liang, A Study of Quadratic Voting. Philip is also receiving the Master of Arts degree. Sheng Hao Lo, The Impact of Drug Profit Margins on Medical Providers, Patients, and the Government. Jane McCammont, Moral Education in Chicago Catholic Schools and Moral Authority in the Roman Catholic Church, 1945 to 1975. Jane is also receiving the Master of Arts degree. Almaz Meskina, From Distress to Eustress, Contextual and Cognitive Factors in the Arousal-Performance Relationship. Aisha Mullah, Subdrama Hai, It's All Drama, The Politics of Producing Television News in Pakistan. Ray Knoll, Jail Refrains, Queer Relations Within and Beyond Necessity. Kenneth Gayosa Onishi, Trans-Kingdom Interactions Regulate Behavior Across the Lifespan. Hyunmin Park, Firm-Specific Human Capital and Employment Dynamics. Ziho Park, Essays on International Economics. Ziho is also receiving the Master of Arts degree. Colin Patrick Rydell, Alcohol in the Garden of Eden, Cider as Alternative Agriculture in Early Modern England, 1650 to 1766. Fahad Sajid, Structure and Agency in Colonial Politics, Lessons from British India and Beyond. Christina Yumi Sakamoto, Hexagons, Scenes, Art, and Jobs, The New Urban Geography of Cultural Enterprises and Employment Opportunity. Marielle Elizabeth Schwartz, The Spillover Effects of Maternity Leave Policy on Young Women's Schooling Choices. Christian Seminario Ames, Informal Rungs on the Job Ladder, Theory and Evidence from Brazil. Andrzej Alexander Szliachter, Smuggler States, Poland, Latvia, Estonia, and Contraband Trade Across the Soviet Frontier, 1919 to 1924. Mujalin Sujaroan, Gradients of Childhood, Thai Schooling, National Imaginaries, and the Figuration of the Migrant Child. Mikhail Sukiaskian, Bailouts and Redistribution. Herman Bruno Villegas Bauer, Essays in Political Economy and Finance. Elaine Patrice Volman, Learning Beyond Accuracy, Evidence for Worked Examples as a Support for Students' Proportional Reasoning Gains. Daniel Edward Watling, The Dearest Desire, Philosophy and Islam in the Book of Ibn Tumart. Daniel is also receiving the Master of Arts degree. Wen Xia, The Making of the Chinese Rust Belt, Generation and Social Change in Northeast China, 1950s to 2010s. Yulia Zhestkova, Technology, Cluster Dynamics, and Network Structure.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations to you all. Today, we recognize your singular achievement, the completion of a graduate degree, which is the result of your passion, your commitment, your sheer effort, and your brilliance all combined. You know, there are just a few occasions in life where you get to celebrate the fruits of a long labor, and I encourage you to make very good use of this one. Celebrate and savor the moment. You've done something truly extraordinary. This is also an occasion, of course, for gratitude. No individual achievement of the scale that you are celebrating today is possible without the help of other people, the families and partners, friends, colleagues, and mentors who have all contributed in essential ways to what you have accomplished. So as you take time to celebrate your remarkable success, I know that you will also take the time to remember and to thank the people who helped to make that success possible. As you were conferred your degrees today, I welcomed you into this ancient and honorable company of scholars. And the fact that these are the words that we say in this ceremony is testament to the foundational role of community in academic life. Now, in fact, you have all been members of our scholarly community all along. I'm not welcoming you today, but you've been part of us all along. And that part is important, not so for you, of course, but maybe more so for the university. Graduate programs are not simply extensions of the work and research of faculty. They are integral to the scholarly life at our university. Each of you has brought new insights, new ways of seeing, and new energy to our community. And so on behalf of my colleagues, I want to thank you for that. A year ago, which was our fully remote degree ceremony, I noted the significant hurdles that last year's graduates had faced in crossing the finish line. And I think even though at the time things seemed dire, we could not have imagined the unprecedented challenges that all of you have faced in getting here today. You have a real badge of honor. Each of you has had to innovate in one way or another, sometimes in several ways, to adapt to conditions that have challenged every aspect of our research in the social sciences. You've had to develop new ways to collect data, new ways to interact with participants, to access archival materials and data, other research materials. And you've had to innovate in getting your research and writing done without full access to the spaces on campus that we usually rely on. In some cases, you have had to totally re-envision and reinvent an entire research program, taking it in directions that we could never have anticipated before this year. And it's a testament to your intellectual creativity, your resourcefulness, and your resolve that you are here as graduates today. It's especially sweet to be able to stand here in person together to celebrate this moment at the end of a year when we have all missed seeing each other so much. But it's bittersweet. It's a poignant fact that this day, on the precipice of what we hope will be something like a return to normal, is also the marker of your end, the end of your time as students here. But I want to remind you that this is not the end of your relationship to the University of Chicago. You are part of the University of Chicago community in a permanent way. You are now alumni of the university and the division. We care about you. We want to keep in touch with you, and we want to know what you think of us. I hope that your connections to the university will continue to grow and to flourish, and I hope that you'll come back often. So I'm going to finish quickly and say, on behalf of my colleagues, let me say that it has been our pleasure and our honor to work with you. You've enriched our scholarship and our lives, and we wish you every happiness in the adventures that lie ahead. Congratulations.